Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Corey Loses for the continuation of our Empire of the Hand playthrough in Thrawn's Revenge 3.1. In the last episode, we secured most of the core, though there are still one or two planets here, Odic and Corellia, and also Hutt. But we have moved our way down, taken out most of the Greater Male Drood. They do still have Abrogato Ray and Hutt, but we are today going to be focusing on getting to Suture, Elysia, and now Hutt if we can, as well as potentially moving in on the New Republic's territory over in the west here. So we're going to be probably building up another fleet on this side. We'll send Scythe's fleet down to Bakura, and a second fleet from Krustai down to Endor. There are only 6 New Republic planets left, I think. Where are they? The New Republic has 6 planets left, so yeah, there's Deep Space, Endor, Bakura, then they have Hoth kind of hidden back in here, and then Glomtho and Ryloth. So I think the New Republic is kind of out of it. The Empire is in not the best position, but they've still got some stuff left. And our main enemy for the rest of the campaign is probably going to be the Ariado Authority, as the people who are like directly opposite the map from where we'd be starting. But we are going to start off by checking this fleet, seeing how that is, and I guess we're going to go into Abrogato Ray. So let's go with, should you stay or should you go as our Pathfinder? And go straight in.
Construction complete.
So I'm hoping, or I'm thinking this will be somewhere between 1 and 3 more streams. We'll definitely be done by the end of May. So we might go a little bit longer for some of the remaining ones. But let's get Black Wolf in there. We'll get Fleet Commander. And for Tessa. And just a regular Antigo. Matakasama. So this is our final episode of any Thrawn's Revenge playthroughs before 3.1 is going to come out, because that is going to be coming out on Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, so we're putting the last kind of touches there, getting some last bugs fixed, and we'll probably end up with another Fall of the Republic hotfix soon. We want to fix the fighter container stuff. There was a change we made to make fighters be less of a target for larger ships when they have other stuff they could be shooting, but it kind of messed up the squadron formations, so we're going to be fixing that. But in you go. I would kind of like to see how quickly we can get through what's left of this playthrough, because it has been going on for the better part of a year at this point. Hey there, Black Wolf. Virginia. And then I'm not sure if we're going to be starting another preview right away. We've got the CIS playthrough going on, obviously. But we might wait until there's a little bit more done on point 2 before getting too far into that. And Andreas? Alright, there we go. We can clear these guys out. No body blocking TIE fighters. There, I think that'll be... Trying to escort it, but just making it harder for us to click it, which is, I guess, the best kind of escort for it to give. Would you have any plans to continue XCOM? Jesus, that would have been a long time ago. I do want to play more XCOM, or I do want to play XCOM on the channel. I don't know. It wouldn't be continuing the save we had before. I think that'd be the kind of thing that I try to stream on either here or Twitch, but do it as like a stream series. Kind of like what I'm doing with the Total War stuff even. But it is a game that I've basically wanted to play the entire time that I've been doing YouTube. And there just wasn't as much interest, but maybe the channel's big enough now that even the less interest is enough to kind of sustain it.
Advancing.
Yeah, I do want to do Star Wars mods with it. I know it's something Shaq does a lot of, so I was kind of looking at what his setup kind of looks like there.
Squad, advance.
Right, let's see.
Move out.
Really need the
Right away.
money there.
We've secured a build pad.
Ready.
And
Sensor node
Yes, sir.
constructing. We've secured
Roger.
a landing zone.
Building under construction.
Choose your reinforcements.
Course plotted.
Reporting in.
right.
Construction complete.
This is a map where I don't think we should have the victory point.
Roger that.
Or at least this is an area where we shouldn't have the victory point unless we put like part of the base here and have the victory point back here. Like the places that I end up liking the victory point are kind of like the Druckenwell battle we had with the CIS. I feel like that actually adds more to how you play the map. Whereas here it's a bit too, especially when they're too attacker favored, they let you just bypass the base too much.
Awaiting order.
Instead of having it be
We've lost
kind of alternate ways to go about the map.
Ready to move.
I copy.
Because like we're probably gonna win this without them having a way to get here.
Awaiting destination. T4B ready.
So I want to do a pass on some of the maps 4.2 that have the victory point and strip it from a lot of them.
T4B mobile.
Armor transport ready.
Like even if they get here at this point, we kind of have the battle.
The enemy has been
Yeah.
defeated. Planetary control achieved.
Constructing.
We'll get there.
Right, they're gonna end up at Fondor.
Construction complete.
Enemy fleet approaching.
Where are you approaching? Is that just the Fondor one? Yeah. Okay. I think we need to build up Fondor and kind of leave everything at that. Well, the Karita fleet. Yeah, we're gonna grab some of this for the Karita fleet.
Tactical battle imminent.
And oh, hi. Who are you? Or what do you have? Secutor, Praji. I always forget what Praji has for some reason. I just know it's triangular.
We've located the enemy.
This is not the attack that they were thinking it would be.
Star Destroyer standing by. Star Destroyer.
All
reporting
right.
in.
Ready for command, sir.
Do I have an ATTE there? That came from the capturable facility.
Personnel reporting ready.
And because we do have should you stay or should you go here already in the battle, they are not going to be able to retreat.
Weapons ready.
They're just going to die.
Attacking the lasers.
Yes, Commander.
Star Destroyer comms open. Roger that. Course set.
Yes, sir.
Alright. Not going to be a difficult battle.
Ready to receive orders. Location locked. Heading out.
You consider giving the Empire the hand, like if ships jump into chest space, you get them? No.
At your
We don't want to give, like, outside of boarding, we don't want to give more factions access to more Imperial stuff. We want the factions to be different and play different. And having it so that, like, you just get stuff for jumping into your territory, or
awaiting your command.
for being in your territory in some form, doesn't really make much gameplay sense.
I have them now.
Ascendancy at the ready. Thrawn would approve.
Like, we kind of say this every time people ask, well, why can't I build whatever, or ISTs as the other factions in the game? Like, there's already 7 Imperial factions, basically. You don't need every faction to have ISDs. There's nothing fun about that. And to the extent that people want that, you can try to use boarding with, like, the New Republic for it. And having them become more common isn't really desirable.
Eliminating target. Ready for use. Getting a lock. Direct fire at their laser
Destroyer
cannon.
comms open.
Get up there.
We've lost the hangar.
Firing sequence
What do you
engaged.
need, sir?
I don't think we're gonna lose either of these guys.
Roger that. I'm on them. The engines are our primary target.
The lasers are our target.
Cynic star.
With point 2, we're gonna be doing a lot of Imperial roster shuffling to
Stay in formation.
kind of make all the warlords that are there feel a bit more unique as well.
Yes, Commander.
Like, our goal is not to make every faction more similar, it's to make them more different. So that would be kind of the opposite of everything we're working on right now.
I have them now.
Watch out, enemy ships.
Locking on. I'm on.
Okay.
Star Destroyer standing by.
Coming around.
What do you need, sir? Firing order.
The raid fleets, you wanted to add them to affect the galactic map. How would that work? We haven't decided any specifics on how we're going to change it. We want them to be more based on what's actually going on in the galactic bubble, or have them have more of an effect on the galactic bubble in some way, so that they're not just like randomly determined random spawns. So using some of the basic setup for them, but tying them more into other mechanics to have them feel more impactful rather than just random thing that happens that you abuse sometimes. New Republic has secured Bespin there. That's nice for them. 152. And let's get these guys. Chiss Best Friend. 2021 Chiss Dreadnought model. Rampager. Bustin makes me feel good. Nero on, we can get 2 Pelpis. And some more over there. We're gonna pull you guys over to that.
Moving to those coordinates.
Or, you know what? I'm actually gonna move them
Orders confirmed. We'll get there.
here, because that's gonna keep being a thing.
Warlord class gunship here, sir.
Advice for playing this game, I've wanted it forever, but I'm terrible at RTS Star Wars, so it's worth the headaches. It's hard to give specific advice right here, but try to learn what your ships do, what they're good at, what they're not good at. Don't just like throw random shit at things and hope it'll go well, or else you might end up with bad times. When are you going to add the Hutts? The Hutts will be added when they have the content to be added. There's no specific timeline or anything like that.
Already on it, sir. Foremost class carrier
You
here.
can also play smaller Galactic Conquests too, rather than going for the giant ones all at once.
Moving to that destination.
Yeah, I want to take Kuwait and then Corellia, because that'll kind of cut us off. And I don't know if we're going to see another revolt at Kashyyyk. It's possible we will. We also do have another fleet kind of building up over here, or kind of built up over here. So maybe we'll put you guys together.
Moving to those coordinates.
And let's grab these ground units.
Heavy cruiser on standby.
Because then we'll be able to attack the Suture.
Construction complete.
One thing that I did change is adding a travel line between Tagori and Kashyyyk. At least I'm pretty sure I did. Alright. The New Republic is kind of low on forces. I don't know if they had anything at, was it Hoth that they had, and then they took Bespin? So I don't know if they had any forces that were at Bespin, or that are now at Bespin that they can kind of bring back together. But
Hypervelocity cannon firing.
they've been moving.
Yes, Commander. Awaiting orders.
Decoding your transmission. Awaiting new instructions, Commander. Coordinates.
I don't know if they're going to try to retreat,
Ascendancy at the ready.
Reporting.
so we can just start sending some of our faster stuff out for it.
Engines activated. Targeting the laser systems. Yes.
They came into this assuming they wouldn't have anything they have to fight except for our station.
Ready.
It's such a long line between Brustai and like Bakura, Endor, Rygar, or Amrak, all those planets. But we are adding a fair amount to the unknown regions for the maps that have it. There won't be quite the same huge jump. Still some pretty long stuff, especially for these kind of rim territories, but it won't be quite the same situation in the future.
Advancing on target.
Decoding your transmission.
But soon we're going to be the ones attacking the other direction and
Target craft.
seeing what they end up
Coming back around.
Awaiting new
being able to deal with.
Commander. Engage.
Alright, there's one down.
Thanks, heavy destroyer stands ready. Decoding your transmission.
Taking fire.
Awaiting new instructions, Commander.
Hypervelocity cannon
What's better, Awakening Rebellion or Thrawn's Revenge? I mean, I make Thrawn's Revenge, so
Stands ready.
I'm gonna say Thrawn's Revenge, but both are good depending on what you're looking for.
The enemy has been defeated.
Both worth trying, like you don't have to limit yourself to one. That's the nice thing about mods. They're free.
Heavy cruiser on standby. Warlord class.
Alright, I'm gonna save after this week rolls over into week 100. And then we'll get to attacking. Is there a list of mods you use?
We'll get there.
I mean, for the playthroughs, I'm basically using whatever mod it is. So this is Thrawn's Revenge. The Fall of the Republic playthroughs, I'm using Fall of the Republic. I'm not using a bunch of different ones. So yeah, let's save. Just in case. Like, generally you're not stacking a bunch of mods when you're playing Empire at War. You're usually doing one. There are some sub-mods, so you might be using one additional sub-mod, but I tend to not use sub-mods, because, like, since I make the mods, I'm usually not looking to customize it beyond that. How do you and your team finance the mod? We don't. It's free. There's no budget. There's not really any development expenses because we're not paying ourselves, but I pay for like GitHub and that kind of thing. So, like, couple dozen bucks a month for me to have the Git that we use, but other than that, it's all free. Hey Valerie. Let's see. Like, I want to attack Typhera, but then that's leaving us open from Jardin. And right now, Typhera is kind of a blockade between us and the EA. 'Cause that's the downside of attacking Endor and Bakura. That's going to open us up to the EA a bit more as well. So if we leave it for now, then we can kind of focus on the other side of the galaxy, which is in the title. So just for the advertising purposes, it seems like that's the better choice to make right now.
Warlord class gunship here, sir.
Construction complete.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Construction complete.
This is... got a nice ground force there. We're going into the Suture. I'm going to take these two Imperial planets first. Suture and now Hutt. Because we know Elysia has 2 Praetors, I think it is. Yes, so Edge of Despair is on Sunday. Tomorrow, there's the Twin Suns tournament happening. So Ek put a lot of people put a lot of work into that. Ek's got a lot of good people working on it. So please watch that. But then on Sunday, after the tournament is over, we're going to be doing Edge of Despair, which is my tabletop series here on the channel, where Kalo GMs, and then me, Slevered Inertial, Scarecrow,
We'll get there.
Adia, and nope, that's it this time. Frog is not on it anymore. It was a huge time commitment for her last time. But yeah, so that is coming back. And Valerie did some art for it, so I've got the thumbnail made out of that. And it's going to be really cool. Things have stepped up with it, even more than before. Arlani's art collection, the front, impetus there, and...
Coming around.
I think we should be safe to drop the Intigo right there.
Awaiting your command. Firing.
We're going to get the Intigo to work on this VSD.
Yes, Commander.
Excellent shot. I got one.
Target acquired.
Get behind
What do you need, sir?
Locking on.
Yeah, Edge of Despair is one of my favorite things to do on the channel, so I'm really excited. Let's get a nice commander in there as well.
Coming around.
And some macro.
Enemies in range. I've got them in my sights.
Then Corey's favorite potato.
Back around for another run.
And Antigone Memorial.
Location locked. Heading out.
Lock. Target locked. Intercept.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Slevered and I had a call a few days ago to make sure that our characters weren't going to overlap too much, because we've both kind of gone into a more social spec.
Stay in formation. Ion engines primed. Target locked.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Get behind them. I have them now. Excellent shot.
Ready to receive
So
orders.
it should be really good. I'm excited.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Coming around. Locking on. I've got
Star
them in my
Destroyer
sights.
comms open.
Enemies in range.
This time I'm hopefully going to be able to pay everything.
Awaiting your orders.
Ready to receive orders.
Eliminating
Meganators
target.
Jump them in too close. Alright, we're going to have to use the skirmish.
Cruiser moving out.
See if we can get some powder weapons help
Excellent shot.
on there.
Stay in formation.
Reporting in. We've got them on scope.
Ascendancy at
Locking
the ready.
on.
Heavy
Enemies
cruiser
in
on
range.
standby.
Target locked.
Maximum
Powder weapons on it.
Comms open.
And
Heavy cruiser.
I have them now.
you ever play a fighty character? Yeah, probably next time for campaign 4. Like, Vuz, my first character for it, kind of wrecks some stuff. But there are already a few other players who are a bit less comfortable doing like the on-stream talking, so especially while they all kind of got used to all that, I figured
Attacking the lasers.
Heavy cruiser on standby.
me going for some of the more social characters, which is what I enjoy doing more anyways, kind of made sense.
Heavy cruiser. Moving to attack.
then they can get used to being on stream more, and I can focus, like, I can do some of the characters when we need them that are more talky. And Slevered's kind of in the same boat there.
Falling out of formation.
Awaiting your orders.
So the Warlord stuff, it's basically redoing all of the rosters. So, changing who has access to what to make sure that they're all going to be playing differently, rather than kind of having different ships covering similar roles for all of it. Like, when Buzz got that disruptor, that pistol, he just killed everything. So, like, this campaign is going to be fairly different from the prior ones. So, I don't know that we have anyone that's like super combat focused other than Tesla being back, but yeah. So the Imperial roster stuff, we've started kind of thinking about that, kind of doing the initial decisions on how the factions are going to work. We've not really sorted out any of the units yet, beyond some that are kind of obvious based on being like the only ship in a role that a specific faction focus requires. Like, the PA is probably still going to be fighter focused, which means Secular's probably going there, that kind of thing. But there'll be more changes. Is there a reason to progress to higher eras of the Menacer? A lot of factions won't have a huge tie into the era system. Like, that is largely going to continue to be an Imperial thing, and then some on the New Republic side. But even on the New Republic side, it's more shifted towards research within the faction with some era requirements. But like, we're not going to be trying to make it so that every faction wants to progress to different eras to get a bunch of different stuff. We want to have that make sense, and if there's going to be any progression within the faction, it'll largely be internal to the faction, with some stuff tied to the other factions in the galaxy. But especially with so many Imperial factions, it's not like we're going to be able to have a huge changing roster as all the eras go on anyways. That would be way too many units. That would make it too hard to maintain the faction playstyles. We'd rather work in other story stuff other ways, rather than trying to force in a feeling of tech progression where it doesn't necessarily make sense. Like, there are other factions where that will be more of a factor, but the Warlords in particular, probably not going to be a huge thing for them.
Engage.
Like, the eras are largely, this is what the Empire setup is right now, and then the New Republic is more tied to that, but for other factions, it's not a huge thing. I think we can take on Hutt with this fleet. So we'll do that soon, but we are going to take on the Suture first. Take out the Suture?
Warlord class gunship here, sir.
Let's see.
We'll get there.
Him over there. Now at least we don't have to worry about getting attacked by the New Republic, most likely. We're kind of just going to come in from this right side.
Invasion commencing.
Ooh, look, it's Palpatine. Who's controlling Hutt? Greater Male Drood is.
Reporting.
And they're kind of isolated there. Unless they get attacked from Chardon. Or I guess Kashyyyk's connected to it.
Yes, Commander.
Choose your reinforcements.
Cantorus unit on point now.
Adjusting navicomputer.
Position alpha
unit
successfully
capacity.
reached.
Production halted.
Alright, is this... Yeah, that's a planetary shield, which actually our air strikers will be good for here.
Order, sir.
Construction complete.
We'll want some sensor nodes as we go forward. You know what? We're actually going to be able to get this one here. Or maybe not. Nope, that's a turbo laser.
Standing
Are we going to be able to see this from there? We are. Crap.
Ready to go. Commander.
You're not supposed to be there.
Executing flyby. Copy. Ready, sir. Ready for orders.
Damn it.
Destroyed.
En route.
Alright. Artillery's... We're just going to hold back with that.
Moving to coordinates. We're going in.
See if we can take out this.
Roger that. Right away.
Awaiting orders. All right, men, take cover. Reporting. Beginning short-range fire.
Roger that. Ground target locked. Moving out. Ready for attack. Initiating sweep. Heading out. Weapons online. Fall out. I've got a lock. Let's move out. Let's go.
Ready.
No, this one...
Warm up.
Ready.
Waiting orders. Keep going.
There we go.
Roger that. Moving into position.
landing zone.
That'll let us get
Tank, not a boat.
more of everything.
Moving at full speed now.
Right away, sir. Entering battlefield.
That... Okay, on this side, I think we're too far.
Spearheading assault. Commence assault.
Artillery
That's
online.
good.
Copy. This way. Form up. I copy. Over there.
Alright, let's see if we can find anything on the left side here.
Awaiting.
Mega Mazer tanks, get up that side. All of you guys over here. We'll keep going up the middle.
Underway.
I'm not sure how long they've held these planets, so I'm not sure how much they're going to have.
Executing flyby.
Calling on
Palpatine is a bit of a concern.
Attack.
I don't think we need that too much.
I copy. Almost there. Reporting. Yes, sir.
We do need to worry about that.
Moving to coordinates.
So get out of there. Fire anti-air turret.
Roger that. Right away.
That's dead.
Yes, sir. Yes, Commander.
See if we can get and hold in here. We are able to shoot that.
Yes, Commander.
I don't think the air strikers are going to be in range for Palpatine's corrupt. No.
Ready. Moving out. Right away.
Support order acknowledged.
Standing by.
lost a build pad.
Reporting in.
All right, can you guys?
Target.
Skip break commencing attack.
This cannot be happening.
Oh shit.
Heading out.
Okay, pull out of there. There's an AA turret. But you got the. You got it. So it's fine.
I copy. On my way.
Let's pull that up.
Waiting order.
Roger.
We got the Emperor.
I copy, sir.
We don't have any air transition problems. Just on there. This was from a much earlier build as well. I don't think this... No, this wasn't before... Or no. This wasn't after we'd started doing the air rework stuff. Oh god.
Open fire. Attack that target.
That's a problem.
All weapons loaded.
Unit destroyed.
Copy.
That's scary.
Roger that. Form up.
Unit
Reporting in.
destroyed.
Awaiting. Ready to go.
We
Let's
secure
move out.
middle pad.
Let's go. I copy. Let's go.
Roger that.
I copy. Commander, keep going. Attacking target. Reporting. Attacking.
Destroyed.
Nope, just kill that. Just kill that.
Attacking.
So close. There you go.
Way.
And kill that way.
For orders. Yes,
Alright.
ma'am.
That should be better for us. Crisis averted.
All weapons loaded. Roger that. Targeting.
I don't know. Not ideal.
T-14.
Losing less stuff would have been ideal. Losing nothing would have been ideal. But I'll take it.
We secure middle pad.
Form up. Firing. Over there. We're going in.
We are at the end. I think I've talked about this last time, but we are at the end of the power to weapons era for air strikers and I think V-wings. They have slam engines now instead.
Ready for attack. Copy. En route. Moving to
Fly back there. Of
Roger
course, let's
that.
see if there's a. Is. Come on, door. When the MC-75 summon is updated to 3.1, will it include the Hammerhead and Spherenus? Is that something done? How far along are the Hutts? The Spherna and MC-75 will not be part of that. Or, not the 37. The Spherna and the... Starhawk won't be part of that yet. The Starhawk will be added as part of the submod eventually, but the Spherna will probably first be seen as part of Imperial Reign. We're not just going to put all the Imperial Reign content in that, at least up front, because we do want to have some unique stuff for it. That... Nope, that didn't crash. We can save. How far along are the Hutts? They are... We have a couple models done, but we don't have much work done on them yet. That. The next faction getting a lot of work would be the Hapens. What's with the torpedo sphere? The new model is done. I think Sky just started working on the texture, so that'll be in 3.2. Wherever it ends up with the roster reworks. Alright, so now Hutt in Elysia. Let's see.
Constructing unit.
Get a couple vision structure or vision helpers there. I do think this is enough. Well, you need to get out of there. Oh, we'll close that. There we go. Sorry about that.
Construction
Tactical
complete.
battle imminent.
I don't think I moved that fast enough. Okay, there's not actually a huge fleet here. Probably something I should have scouted out as well.
Enemy unit sighted.
This is a map that'll definitely have some lighting changes.
Choose your reinforcements.
The direction Like, the way the lighting is currently set up, or the planets were set up before Dr. Nick did his edits to the planet models. They don't even have a Hyper Frost again? Okay. The lighting had to be kind of blown out for the sake of the planet models, but now, with those reworks, they don't have to be anymore, so we can make it more reasonable.
Acknowledged, sir.
Reinforcements
Coming
cancelled.
about. The ascendant is on us.
Ascending moving already on it, sir.
Reinforcements cancelled.
Acknowledged, sir.
Then we got Emperor of the Other Hand, go to my OnlyFans, Mr. Boo, saw this ship in half,
Destination.
Ray Ghost, and another fleet commander.
Your command, sir.
Attack.
Ascendant seats ready.
Intercepting. I'm on them.
Mega Mazers Prime.
Locking on. Attack.
What other factions besides them we know are planned to be added to the mod? I did a video about that about a year ago, and aside from the patch making it so that we can re-add the Avitha and don't have to remove the Ariadu Authority, it's largely the same. So if you watch that, then it's basically what's described there, as far as playable factions go. Because there's still like several years of stuff planned from that video. But I do kind of want to do an updated version of that since there were the changes with the patch.
Destroy the hangar.
When will Imperial Reign be completed? No idea. Like, we don't even do release dates for mods that are like fully in production and nearing completed, where we know exactly what we need to do because there's too many variables. Like, we don't give release dates until we're basically done. And Imperial Reign is nowhere near that. Like, we didn't give a release date for 3.1 until last weekend, I think it was.
Reporting in.
Getting a lock. Excellent.
And that was a
At your beck and call.
largely finished mod already.
Updating targeting parameters.
I'm on them. Stay in formation.
What about non-playable factions? You mentioned something about wanting independent DAX or this too. So, with the... For non-playable factions, the thing I was talking about there with that is something that I was planning with the initial implementation, or planning since the initial implementation of revolts, is that there'd be some factions, rather than having revolts always go to another major faction, have there be certain kind of emergent factions like you'd see in Europa Universalis or Crusader Kings, that kind of thing, where those factions don't typically exist, but like we have enough Mon Calamari stuff, for example, that we can have a Mon Calamari faction that revolts if they're revolting from the New Republic. It's like normally they'd want to join the New Republic, but if they're revolting from the New Republic, then rather than join an Imperial faction or something, have them kind of start doing their own thing. So, not like huge swaths of new additions with that, but
We stand ready.
have it be
Generating new attack solutions.
just a bit of extra dynamic content for Galactic Conquests. Alright, another ISD coming in this way.
Next Star Destroyer here. At your beck and call.
Attack formation.
I don't worry about the strike cruisers. See if we can take them out.
Dreadnought cruiser ready.
We've killed the actual defense fleet. It's just the garrisons and the structures now.
Firing sequence engaged.
Are you planning to add more story events, or maybe even something like vanilla campaigns, even possible modders? Yeah, you can do stuff like that. We have the all the quest line stuff in the Back to War campaign. We have the Katana Fleet mission. We have the mission that opens up like Era 3 starts in Operation Shadowhand. It's just there's so many factions in so many Galactic Conquests that it's difficult to have a high density of story, because like there are a lot of work to do those missions. We don't have any plans to do like a full story campaign. We'd rather put the work into adding events in Galactic Conquest, and there are a lot more of those planned, especially now that we have some tools and systems set up to make it a lot easier for us to do that kind of thing, like faster to do that. Where like now, if we want to add research events, they take just one extra Lua function, and that's part of the tech reworks we did, or the error reworks we did with the 0.1 update cycle. So that is something that we want to do, is more story in a bunch of different places, but not in like full campaign thing. There's a Battle of Endor mission that primarily Nohembre was working on for a while. I think that was actually started before 0.1 started, but it just hasn't been ready to be fully worked in yet. But there's also stuff like Operation Nightfall for Fall of the Republic, an Invisible Hand mission, Battle of Coruscant mission. So there's a bunch of stuff we want to do. It's just getting to the point where that becomes a priority. Which generally our Lua work, which is like the type of scripting that you need to do for adding that kind of thing, that's been focused on other systems, and we're going to be able to, now that we have both more people who can do it and some of the other stuff's been done, we're going to be able to start shifting more towards that kind of stuff.
Dreadnought cruiser ready. Heavy cruiser standing by.
Yes, Commander.
Late game raid fleets be harder. I don't think we'd be doing raid fleet strength based on time in the game, but because we want them to be more dependent on like what's going on in the galaxy, they ideally would change based on that, which would result in like more impact from them. That's something I would like to start working on sooner than later, really. Can you shoot that?
I'm on there.
Captain here.
What do you need, sir? Firing on the target. At your beck and call.
Heavy assault.
You guys down here.
Stay in formation.
Oh, there's another ISD.
Sending stars right here.
So don't go too far out there yet. How many do they have?
Excellent shot.
Oh, that would have been, the first one would have been a real ISD then.
Yes, Commander.
Unless there were still an issue with it lying to me or something.
Dreadnought cruiser ready.
Destroyer here.
What do you need, sir? Target acquired.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Heavy
I
cruiser.
don't want to lose the Intigo to one strike cruiser.
I got one.
I always end up with like just
All batteries fire on the
Ready to
target.
receive orders.
ion cannons on the Intigo.
Heavy assault cruiser.
Alright, we need to get everything
Warlord class gunship
over here.
sir.
My sights. Enemies in range.
Yes, Commander.
Ready to go.
General Kenobi.
Warm up. Firing.
Ascendancy at the ready. Star Destroyer
Captain
comms
here.
open.
Fire for effect.
What do you need, sir?
Maximum fire.
Firing on the target.
Ready to receive orders.
Reporting. Star Destroyer standing by.
Target destroyer at the ready.
Holding fire for
Alright, get these guys over there.
We stand ready. Cripple their defenses. Take out their heavy weapon batteries.
Eliminating target.
targeting at maximum firepower.
At your beck
A lot
and
of stations have hard points in FOTR, but not TR. I imagine that's a standard feature to both. It's because of when this playthrough started. That's it. This playthrough started before they were added, because it's been going for longer than the CIS one was. So in TR, they do have hard points as well. It's just not in the build that I'm using for this. It's possible to improve the position of the defending fleet. Sometimes stuff like smaller interdictors are really close to the enemy. Not really. Like, people do regularly ask us to move the starting forces in or around here, like in between all the stations, but the problem with that is that can cause a lot more pathfinding issues than having them in front and then moving them back. And we can't change the logic for how the game arrays them, so it's always going to want to put smaller stuff in front, essentially. There's not much we can do on that side of it either.
Ready to receive orders.
Attack
Firing
formation.
sequence engaged.
Go after the
Thrawn would
stragglers.
approve.
At your beck and call. Already on it, sir.
Excellent shot.
Right, we do have some good long range here.
Heavy assault cruiser ready.
Coming around.
I've got them in my sights.
Yes, Commander.
Locking on.
Let's move this over here.
Heavy cruiser standing by.
And
Warlord class gunship here, sir.
Another attack.
Watch the shield drain, Lieutenant. We stand ready. At your beck and call.
Getting a lock.
Warlord class gunship
Holding
here, sir.
fire for
All
maximum
batteries
effect.
fire when ready.
Targeting at maximum firepower.
What do you need, sir?
I'm on. Enemies in range.
Mega
Target
Mazer
locked.
there'll be a sequel or HD remaster. I don't know. Like, Petroglyph has always wanted to do more Empire at War ever since the game released. Like, they originally wanted to do more expansions and stuff in a sequel, and they were going to use, like, Silry's army for that. I don't think they'd go that direction if it happened now, but I know Petroglyph is still interested in that. And they've actually, recently, Petroglyph has stopped working on Earthbreakers, I think it was called, their other game that they had started working on. Like, they put that on hold in favor of some unnamed project, so maybe that's Empire War. I doubt it, but it's not impossible.
Sequence engaged.
For the Empire.
What do you need, sir?
Commander.
Captain here. Dreadnought cruiser ready.
Would you like to see new gunships in TR? There are a short list of gunships that we have
Syndic Star Destroyer here.
I got one.
planned around adding at some point, so there will be more of those.
Destroyer at the ready. Heavy assault
Yes,
cruiser
Commander.
ready.
Destroy the hangar.
Heavy cruiser standing by.
Holding fire for
Warlord class
maximum
gunship
effect.
here, sir.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Reporting in.
All right, you can get in there. You're just turn around. You're gonna die.
What do you need, sir? All batteries fire on the target.
Heavy assault cruiser
We
ready.
stand ready.
Nowhere to run.
At your beck and call. Take out their heavy weapon batteries.
Receive orders at the ready.
Thrawn would approve. Ascendancy at the ready. Mega Mazer's prime.
See if you can hit over here
Syndic Star Destroyer here.
and go on
Firing on
there.
target.
Dreadnought cruiser
You're
ready.
gonna hit one of
Firing
those.
turbo
And I'm gonna try to get them
Gunship
all
here, sir.
on
We
different stuff.
stand ready. Cripple their defenses. Updating targeting parameters.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Yeah, you just help
Fire
on this
sequence
side.
engaged.
Yes, Commander.
Heavy assault cruiser ready.
Targeting at maximum
Engaging
firepower.
gun.
Ready to receive orders. Thrawn would approve.
Star Destroyer at the
Ascendancy
ready.
at the ready.
Heavy
We are gonna
cruiser
lose the
standing
main
by.
cannon on that. I should have left the dreadnought
Heavy
in.
assault cruiser ready. Drive engaged.
At your beck and call.
Captain here. Fire for effect.
What do you need, sir? Destroyer en route.
Shot Star
Getting out the goal in is going to be more difficult. We don't have the Peltis gun anymore.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Heavy assault cruiser ready.
We've lost
Ready
the
to receive
hangar.
orders.
Roger that.
Yes, Commander. Reporting in. Syndic Star Destroyer here. Understood.
All enemies, that's a mod. If the starfighters live too long, probably due to ships not focusing on multiple targets when there's so many in battle. The way fighters and bombers work is getting pretty much fully reworked with the next version.
Ready. Coming about.
Partially to address that.
Engines are out,
Ascendancy at the
sir.
ready.
So you'll probably see some
Star Destroyer comms open.
breakdowns of how that rework is going to be happening with the early parts of development for Point
All
2.
guns fire.
It's something we've been working on for several months already. It's just, it wasn't going to fit within the scope of what we were doing for Point 1, so we didn't want to try to rush that through.
Warlord class gunship here, sir.
Coming around.
Shot Star Destroyer at the ready.
Choose your reinforcements.
That's why. We don't really have any other forces to send in.
Heavy assault cruiser ready.
for another.
Engaging threat.
Yes, Commander.
Dreadnought cruiser ready.
Holding fire for maximum
Destroyer
effect.
here.
Just Star Destroyer at the ready. Heavy cruiser standing by. Heavy assault cruiser ready. Captain here.
We're basically gonna have to get the Intigo up here with some
Dreadnought
shields
cruiser
and
ready.
go from there.
Ormos class carrier here, Admiral. We stand ready.
Just Star Destroyer at the ready. Bringing Mega Maven.
Basically, there's
Cruiser standing by.
some differences to weapon types that are going to be coming through with point 2. That'll heavily impact bombers in particular. Changing the amount of bombers you have in the battles to make them a bit more manageable. Changing how the complements work so that you have better control over like your proportion of fighters, bombers, interceptors, that kind of thing. And the amount of bombers also helps with
Copy. Move out.
some lag reduction from the number of enemies
ready.
around.
Just Star Destroyer at the ready.
Yeah, more of that will be discussed later.
Coming about. Heavy assault cruiser ready.
Warlord class gunship here, sir.
Step 1,
Just Star Destroyer at the ready.
shipyard.
Heavy assault cruiser ready.
Targeting at
We
maximum
stand ready.
firepower.
Just Star
I wish I'd used
Destroyer
more warlords throughout this campaign. They're especially good at taking down these kind of structures and larger ships.
At your beck and call. Generating new attacks.
Heavy assault cruiser ready.
Ready to go, sir.
Starting our capture. Just Star Destroyer
Warlord
at
class
the ready.
gunship here, sir. We stand ready. At your beck and call.
Heavy assault cruiser ready.
Warlord class gunship here, sir.
Thank you, Thorwin, for becoming a captain.
Just Star Destroyer at the
Like
ready.
all good navies, we
Heavy
promote
cruiser
people
standing
entirely
by.
based on financial
Firing
contributions.
turbo releases. Heavy assault
Which I'm
cruiser
pretty sure is a
ready.
good idea, right?
We stand ready. Watch the shield drain.
See if we can get
Star
in.
Destroyer at the ready. All batteries Captain here.
I don't know if 4 is going to be enough for this, but
Take out their heavy weapon batteries.
Holding fire for
Heavy
maximum
assault
effect.
cruiser ready.
Star Destroyer standing by.
Ready. Commencing
Just
attack run.
Star Destroyer at the ready. Cruiser ready.
Star Destroyer reporting in.
Heavy assault cruiser ready.
Warlord class gunship here, sir.
Heavy cruiser standing by. Just Star Destroyer at the ready.
shields are half down there.
We shall be there shortly.
We stand ready.
Hopefully we kill this off before it's too late.
Captain here. Heavy assault cruiser ready.
We just have so few weapons left on any of this.
Bringing Mega Mazes to bear.
Right, we need to make sure we are targeting different stuff with everything, or else it
Fire
will
for
be
effect.
At your beck and call.
too little.
Cripple their defenses. Take
That-
out their heavy weapon batteries.
crap.
Cripple their defenses.
Just Star Destroyer at the ready.
Warlord
I'm gonna be
class
down a
gunship here,
warlord in
sir.
a second.
We stand ready.
We're down a
At your
warlord
beck
already.
and call.
But I think if we can stay on this side, yeah,
Warlord
I think we're
class
safe.
gunship here, sir.
Safe
Take
enough.
out their heavy weapon batteries. Yes, Commander. Awaiting
Maybe we can get our Ormoses in.
Yes, Commander. Reporting in. Ormos class carrier here, Admiral.
Heavy assault cruiser ready.
We stand ready. Cripple their defenses. Take out their heavy
Just
weapon
Star
batteries.
Destroyer at the ready.
Holding fire for
All
maximum effect.
batteries fire. Heavy cruiser standing by.
Targeting at maximum
At your beck and
firepower.
call. Cripple their defenses. Take out their heavy
Holding
weapon
fire for
batteries.
Captain
maximum
here.
effect.
Alright.
All guns.
I think that's every weapon that's going to be firing on this side.
Awaiting orders. Focus fire on those turbo lasers.
So what we have here should be
Warlord
safer
class
now.
gunship here, sir.
And Kuat is no longer a threat.
We stand ready. Cripple their defenses.
Which means that's the end of the Great Male Drood.
Yes, Commander. Reporting in.
Just Star Destroyer at the ready. Heavy cruiser standing by.
at your beck and call. Take out their heavy weapon batteries. Ormos-class carrier here, Admiral.
Why the fuck do you only have 83 viewers? Because I am a middling to mediocre YouTuber with a relatively small subscriber base.
Here. Firing turbo releases.
Yes, Commander.
Also, oh no, algorithm, suppressing me. Yep. Yeah, it's not my fault. It's the algorithm.
Yes, Commander. Reporting in.
Always the algorithm. This is the last planet of the Greater Male Drood. We lost Need a Really Big Stick, Chaff, Look Ma, I'm on TV, and 3 of our Rokias. But I think that's worth it. We went in with a smaller fleet, and what happened, happened. What's gonna happen next is we're gonna save. So that's still going to be open from Kashyyyk. We do have to take the ground of Hutt, but that shouldn't be too bad. And they're cut off from Kashyyyk on the other side now. So we shouldn't have to worry about an assault from Kashyyyk. They might even not be able to get enough influence on Kashyyyk. If we can get their... no, they'll be fine, probably. We might get a Kashyyyk revolt. Because they have one unrest at least. Did we display the influence? I think we do that now. Showing enemy influence. By the way. Hey Sky, how's it going? I mentioned your new project earlier. So, sorry for spoiling that. Someone did ask, though, so I had no choice. The egg. Kashyyyk would be nice to have because it would block off, or it would open up more travel paths for us, but we might just go through now Hutt, Bothului. Stay with this fleet. One of us will have to do it someday, at least. Ryadu's taken Sullust. Who had Sullust? I guess the Empire must have had it. Ooh, yikes. Not good. Not great. You have a playlist for all the old Republic-ish themes, or just a custom setting for the game? I have just... There's... If you just look for the YouTube video of, like, 4 soundtrack, KOTOR 2 soundtrack, I literally just downloaded that and used that.
Choose your reinforcements.
Alright,
Syndic moving out.
Diver on this side. Hey there, Thrawn 889. A lot of clones these days. Impetus. Alani's art collection. Get some anti-fighter here. And our Antigo in the front. Commander, gonna call is important to us. I want to go kind of carrier heavy for this if we can. As far as we, like, as much as we can go. Skirmish, Red.
Heavy cruiser moving out.
Green Shooty Boy. Take any memorial.
Awaiting your command.
TIE squadron here. Changing course.
That's a lot of bombers in there.
TIEs reporting in. Right away.
And our bombers over on this side.
Orders, sir.
On standby.
Scarsis is...
Ready for command.
Versus is... Heck.
Attack squadron standing
I've done my my contractual shilling for the tournament.
by. I'm losing.
So if you wanna PayPal me that 10 grand,
Heavy cruiser.
but I'll do it again. So make sure to go over to X channel now that it's right there, and sit there until tomorrow morning when day 1 of the tournament's happening,
Target locked.
and it's gonna be epic.
Eliminating target.
Professional casting, giant prize pools, so people are gonna get really sweaty for it. It's gonna be great.
Excellent shot. Attack.
And then after that, on Sunday, you can calm down with some Edge of Despair. It's going to be a whole weekend of just great stuff happening.
Stay in formation.
Fire.
Get
Awaiting your orders.
I have them now.
Commander.
I'm on them. Coming around.
Warm up. I got
If we can just like kill all these before even getting to
Locking on.
the Allegiance, that's going to be pretty epic.
open fire.
Enemies in range.
Reporting in.
Heavy cruiser on standby.
You stop getting up there, because the Allegiance... Oh, I kept thinking the Allegiance is farther up.
Getting a lock. Eliminating target.
Target locked. Excellent shot.
Intercepting. I'm on.
Bombing out there. Scarseas.
I have them now.
Go over to that one.
I'm on.
You can move the boundary up.
I got
Roger that.
Okay, you stop. You're our tank, but you can only tank so much.
Enemies in range. Target locked.
awaiting orders.
There were a bunch of particle upgrades after this playthrough started as well,
Target.
I've got them in my sights.
and a bunch of Death Clone stuff.
Back around.
It is the downside of doing these previews, is that obviously the mod evolves over development, so
Cruiser.
Destroyer.
it's not always the most current.
Yes, Commander. Awaiting your orders.
Copy. Targeting.
Falling out of formation.
Ready to receive orders.
Intercepting.
I copy. Firing.
I'm on them.
What do you need, sir? Heavy cruiser on standby.
I don't think we're going to be able to get out of there with that one,
Advancing to that position.
but we can
Ready. Mega Major's
try
Prime.
to focus down here.
Sending Star Destroyer here. Firing on their weapon system. Heavy cruiser.
You may as well... No, you don't. You can't do powered weapons. Never mind.
Go after the stragglers.
Yes, Commander. Destroy their turbo lasers.
Star Destroyer comms open. Thrawn would approve.
It's only an ISD-1.
Firing on their weapon system.
We have everyone shooting at different
Destroyer here.
hardpoint there.
Star Destroyer reporting in.
Stay in formation.
Awaiting your orders. Opening fire.
Ready to receive orders.
Are you going to be able to shoot from there? You are. So we can keep the Syndics blowing these guys up.
Destroy their turbo lasers.
I have them now.
Target acquired. All batteries fire on the target.
Taking fire.
at the ready.
Yes, Commander. Our engines are gone, sir.
And the shields on that one are pretty low as well, so that's good.
Heavy cruiser.
Wait, you didn't even die.
Standby.
That's cool too.
Destroy their main platform.
Right. I'm gonna have to pull this one over and send another battle group up this way.
Awaiting orders.
I've got them in my sights.
As long as we have this Intigo alive, our battle group is staying together.
Nowhere to run. Falling out of formation.
Heavy cruiser.
Ready.
Sending Star Destroyer here.
Once that's down, though, it turns into more of a problem for us.
Awaiting your orders.
Alright.
Awaiting.
That's gonna be sooner than later, too. Alright. Bombers, get in there.
Engines are all down.
Scarseas, get in there.
Enemies in range.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Target locked.
What do you need, sir?
Go after the
Target acquired.
stragglers.
Ready to receive orders. Thrawn would approve.
Another attack.
Wait for the hangar.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Heavy cruiser on standby.
Holding fire for maximum
Ready
effect.
to receive orders.
Formation. Coming about.
Reporting.
So they're going to have that allegiance. It'll really come down to which of us, like, if we can take out these other ISDs before they get it. Are these all vectors? No, they are ISD. Because we're starting to lose out on our cultists.
Awaiting your orders.
Then if we can kind of bring everything together on it, we'll be good. Looks like we might be in trouble.
Firing all my weapons systems.
Ascendancy ready. Go. Mega Mazers Prime.
Sending Star Destroyer here. Destroy their turbo lasers.
Once they're in range, that's really far from best case scenario for us. They're all a lot brawlier than Empire of the Hand ships.
Yes, Commander.
And their bombers have made it through our initial line.
Star Destroyer comms open.
That's going to start falling apart too.
Mega Mazers
Enemies in
Prime.
range. Target locked. Get behind them. Eliminating target.
Engines disabled. We're adrift, sir.
Ascendancy at the ready. Star Destroyer comms open.
I have them now.
Awaiting your orders.
Ready to
What do you
receive
need,
orders.
sir?
Coming around.
Ascendancy at the ready.
More enemies.
Firing sequence engaged.
Sending Star Destroyer here.
Star Destroyer comms open. Thrawn with approval.
Destroyed our ion cannon.
Yes,
Commander,
Commander.
they're hitting us. I've got them in my
Nope.
sights.
Let's get out of here.
Going to high speed.
Where'd he go?
Heavy cruiser on standby.
I don't want to risk the rest of this with those two allegiances there.
Falling out of formation.
Having no phalanxes in this fleet, kinda not great. God, we only killed 3 of their Star Destroyers there. That was so close to being so much better.
Underway.
Let's see what's actually there. This fleet is strong, apparently. Now that they're not retreating anymore. 3-2. Right. Well, with the help from this fleet, even though we don't have an Intego, we can still do that.
Orders confirmed.
Building under construction.
Tactical battle imminent.
It'll be interesting to see how much military power the Empire has left after this.
Inbound.
What we may end up doing is take these Hutt space planets
Choose your reinforcements.
and then raid fleet. Take these Hutt space planets and then
Choose your reinforcements.
try to push down the middle of the map.
We'll get there. Location locked. Heading out.
Getting out. On our way.
Syndic moving out. Destroyer
So go
on
for the Ariadu Authority
there now.
rather than trying to
Cancelled.
Heavy cruiser
take out
moving
the Republic and the Empire.
Set. Coordinates received.
Advancing to that position.
Orders confirmed.
Reinforcements.
Moving to
cancelled.
those coordinates, Commander.
Reinforcements
We'll
cancelled.
get there.
Moving to those coordinates, Admiral. Ahead full. Moving to those coordinates.
Alright.
Ready to receive orders. Mega Mazers primed.
Yes, Commander.
What do you need, sir? Understood.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Syndic Star Destroyer here.
sir. Starting our attack run.
Ready.
Bombers coming in.
Attack that target.
Star Destroyer comms open. Firing sequence engaged.
Let's see if we can
TIE squadron.
do some damage first.
Awaiting
We do have more bombers now.
Foremost class carrier here, Admiral.
Yes, Commander.
Locking on.
All batteries fire on Thanks. Heavy destroyer stands ready.
Ready to receive orders. Ascendancy at the ready.
Coming back around for another
Star
run.
Destroyer comms is
Getting
open.
a lock.
Ready to receive orders.
Enemies in range.
Location locked. Heading out.
Get in there.
What do you need,
Target
sir?
locked.
Firing on my
Intercepting.
weapon system. Heavy
Eliminating target.
Holding fire
Decoding your
for maximum
transmission.
advance.
That actually looks like a pretty big raid fleet, too.
Stay in formation.
Excellent shot.
Get behind them.
Awaiting new instructions,
Them
Commander.
now.
I got one.
I'm on them. Draw their fire. Coming around. Locking on.
I've got
Right.
one in my sights.
Enemies in range. Target locked.
Heavy destroyer stands
Eliminating
ready.
target.
You guys can go for the back Star Destroyer now, I guess.
Coming back around for another run. Target locked.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Decoding your transmission.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Okay. Get into position there.
New instructions.
You stop there.
Intercepting.
And I'm gonna send the bombers down to this allegiance.
Stay in formation. Get behind them.
Or you know what? I'm gonna send them to this allegiance.
I got
Yes,
one.
Commander. Awaiting orders.
Have them now.
Thanks. Heavy destroyer stands ready.
Enemies in range.
At the ready.
I'm on them.
Because this one and this one, like this ISD and this allegiance, are gonna be
Cynic Star Destroyer here.
in some danger from the raid fleet. So we just need to take out the weapons on this side.
Destroy their turbo lasers.
And that'll also help against the raid
Firing
fleet.
on my weapon system.
Go after the stragglers.
Decoding your transmission.
Target locked.
Orders, sir. The primary target.
Awaiting new instructions, Commander.
Intercepting.
Don't do that.
Eliminating
Ready
target.
to receive orders.
What do you need, sir?
Stay in formation.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Cynic Star Destroyer here.
Target locked.
Alright, fighters,
Fire at will.
get over that way. We don't need to worry about these ones anymore.
Thanks. Heavy destroyer stands ready. Initialize general bombardment. Yes, Commander.
I'm on them. Coming around.
Firing on the target.
Ready to receive orders.
I got one. There. Detected.
Thrawn would approve.
I guess we have to fire on that one
Ascendancy at
first.
the ready. Star Destroyer comms open.
Decoding your transmission.
They're coming.
Awaiting new instructions, Commander.
Yeah, they are coming in, and they are taking 5 first.
Enemies in range.
Target acquired.
Coming back around for another run.
Heavy cruiser. Awaiting your orders.
And let's get our kind of ghosts.
Heavy destroyer stands ready.
Intercepting.
Shouldn't be in danger,
Where'd he
as
go?
long as they stay kind of close to the back. This would be a great fight with some warlords.
Target locked.
Bringing Mega
Or Rokias.
Decoding your transmission.
Even I use the old names.
I got one.
Awaiting new instructions, Commander.
Ready to receive orders.
Nowhere to run.
Mega Mazers
Take out the whole
firing
banks.
sequence
Locking
engaged.
on. Get behind them.
Thrawn would
Have them
approve.
now.
Thanks. Heavy destroyer stands ready. Yes, Commander.
I'm on them.
We're gonna take out the dreadnoughts for us.
Mega Mazers prime.
Formation.
They're gonna start to die.
Enemies in range.
Ready to receive orders.
Go
Ascendancy at the
after
ready.
the stragglers.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Requesting fighters aboard.
Regroup for another attack.
Target locked.
Heavy assault cruiser
Eliminating target.
Take out the engines on there,
I've got them in my sights.
and I need to get into the allegiances.
Target locked.
What do you need?
The lack of a tank is really hurting us, but
Ascendancy at the ready.
Cynic Star Destroyer.
still fine. Especially if there's gonna be some Imperial infighting over there. I don't want the chaff to be in the front lines there.
Awaiting new instructions, Commander.
Sequence engaged.
do you need, sir?
The Syndic will be better off. Ooh, that's actually facing us again. So let's get Steadfast.
More enemy craft.
Destroy
Take out those
main
octuples.
Maximum firepower.
And you get over here.
Yes, Commander. Reporting
Intercepting.
Ready.
I'm on them.
Syndic stars right
Stay in
here.
formation.
You stay on those.
Heavy destroyer stands
Your job is the Dreadnoughts.
Foremost class.
So we're gonna get
carrier
the
here.
Foremost to help with.
I got one.
Firing on the designated target now.
Your call is important to us is going to die for this.
Taking
Ready to
fire.
receive orders.
awaiting new
And we're probably going to lose this regular Phalanx as well.
their guns.
Ready.
Heavy cruiser.
Being outmaneuvered.
Commander, they're hitting us. I've got them in my sights. Coming back around for another run. Enemies in range.
Destroyer comms open.
Thanks, heavy destroyer stands ready.
What do you need, sir?
Would the Agave and Warrior be in CMP Part 1 or 2? I mean, considering what they'd replace, I'd be more likely to want them in
Syndic stars right here.
Phase 2, but considering they're not something that we've worked on, it's not really something where there's any specific
Target locked.
plans for them.
Awaiting new instructions, Commander.
Yes, Commander.
So it's not really something I can answer.
Stay in
Destroy their turbo lasers.
Ready to go, sir.
Thanks, heavy destroyer stands ready.
eliminating target.
Holding fire for maximum effect.
Backhand, the Bopper,
Draw their fire.
Flank speed.
support in there.
Coming about.
What do you need, sir?
Excellent
Firing
shot.
on the target.
Get
Star
behind them.
Destroyer comms open. Thrawn would approve.
No one's making out very well
Go after
in
the
this battle.
stragglers.
Mega Maser's prime.
Syndic stars right here.
Attack.
Awaiting your orders.
Ascendancy ready.
Let's get power to weapons on them.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Yes, Commander.
You may actually be able to handle this, what's left of this allegiance.
Ready to
And
receive
let's
orders.
kill...
Taking fire.
I want to kill the Lancers, because they are a problem for our fighters.
Ready.
Where'd he go?
I don't want to distract too much from taking down these biggins.
Falling out of formation.
Star Destroyer
Draw
comms
their
open.
fire.
Syndic stars right here.
Attack formation. Go after the
We had a deal.
regroup.
Burrow Baggins.
They're coming in.
720 to 1. Burrow.
Into those
School.
coordinates.
And
Right away, sir.
Ready to receive orders.
Yes,
I don't really want to bring in the interdictor,
destroy their turbo
just in case they do decide they want to retreat, which I don't think is likely, but just in case.
I'm on them.
What do you need, sir?
Destroyer comms open.
I've got them in
Mega
my
Maser's primed. Firing sequence engaged.
Syndic stars right here. We
And there's this whole situation to deal with.
I got one.
Yes, Commander. Destroyer
Ready to receive orders.
Enemies in range.
Thrawn would approve.
Target locked.
Weapons online.
Intercepting.
What do you need, sir?
Eliminating target.
Moving into
Over there.
position.
Well, maybe... No, this is going to have shields, so it's fine. But we can at least take out the Lancers now.
Syndic stars right here.
Heavy cruiser on standby.
Falling out of formation.
Yes, Commander.
I'm on them. TIE squadron.
I don't think we have any,
Target locked.
Reporting.
kill that. I don't think we have any bombers left, really.
Excellent shot.
Yeah, just the one there.
What do you need, sir? Firing on my weapon system.
Waiting command. Enemies incoming.
Syndic stars right here.
Gunning around.
Heavy cruiser. Awaiting your orders.
Locking on.
I'd prefer it if you guys went for the stations, to be honest.
Yes, Commander.
Star Destroyer
Enemies in
comms
range.
open.
Getting
Ready
a
to
lock.
receive orders.
Intercepting.
Doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Firing sequence engaged.
What do you need, sir? Target acquired. Heavy cruiser on standby.
Let's see.
Target locked.
Well, let's get all of our fighters over there.
Heavy assault cruiser ready.
Heavy cruiser, destroy their launch bay.
For maximum
Ascendant ready.
effect.
Thrawn would approve.
Cynic Star Destroyer here. All batteries fire on the target.
Just Star Destroyer at the ready.
Targeting at
Star
maximum
Destroyer comms
firepower.
open. Mega Maser's prime.
Yes, Commander.
Launching attack.
What do you need, sir?
Ready to receive orders.
Awaiting your orders. Hang up.
Ascendant
So much for you guys attacking the stations for me.
Cynic Star Destroyer here.
Star Destroyer comms open. Ready to receive orders.
Heavy cruiser on standby. Heavy cruiser. Moving to attack. Yes, Commander.
Okay. ISDs, IS down. Fighter, just get up here. Looks like they kind of are going for the stations.
Star Destroyer comms open. Thrawn would approve.
What do you need, sir?
You can kill that octuple.
Awaiting your orders. Heavy cruiser on standby. Focus fire on the heavy guns.
Ready to receive orders.
Cruiser firing. Cynic Star Destroyer here.
God, what about?
Excellent shot.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Heavy cruiser.
We'll be there shortly.
Star Destroyer comms open. Mega Maser's prime.
Yes, Commander. Engines are out,
Target
sir.
those
Ready to
lasers.
receive orders.
What do you need, sir?
No!
Cynic Star Destroyer here.
Stay safe, dual Maser cannon.
Their laser cannon.
Ascendancy at the
Awaiting
ready.
your orders.
Now on to the
Yes,
VSDs.
Commander. Firing on target.
Ready to receive
Now
orders.
they've dealt with the Imperial garrisons. I mean, there's still some Imperial forces coming out to deal with their fighters, but you guys go for
What
that.
do you need, sir? Heavy cruiser on standby.
Ascendancy at the ready.
As long as we have these three peltists, I'm less concerned about
Sequence engaged. Thrawn would
stations,
approve.
because then it's more of just like,
Destroyer here.
Ready to
how much
receive
time
orders.
is it going to take, rather than being, can we take it out? What extent are you willing to use cut content, like some of the cut info from the Grand Admiral articles? It depends on the specific content. Like, there's some prequel concept art that we're probably going to be slotting in for certain ships. For like the cut stuff from articles like that, it's rarely enough to
What do you need, sir?
be
Ready to receive
especially
orders.
helpful for the mod. Like, it's usually not
Mega Maser's prime.
uh,
Ascendancy at the ready.
anything that would be relevant in the mod beyond
Right away.
maybe some like description text. But if there's like someone who has no named flagship
Star Destroyer
and they have a named flagship and cut content, rather than make up a new name, we'd be
Awaiting your orders.
more likely to use whatever the cut name was. So
We'll get there.
that kind of thing, like I think there are a few Grand Admirals where that was the case.
Coming around.
Star Destroyer comms
For
open.
another attack.
Ready to receive orders.
Firing.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Undetected.
Star Destroyer comms
Heavy
open.
cruiser on standby.
Target locked. On standby.
Ready to receive orders.
Eliminating target.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Well, we have 3 3 peltists. It's
What
not
do you need,
Star
sir?
Destroyer
gonna be
comms
that
open.
long.
Heading out.
Ready to receive orders.
Attack
Like even the goal in
position.
3 won't be that defensible.
Cynic Star
Because we just gotta
Destroyer
take the shields down a bit and then we can send other stuff in.
Yes, Commander. Attack. Pressing the attack.
Star Destroyer comms open.
As long as this one doesn't die. If this one dies, then we got a problem. And by dies, I mean we just have to destroy the front
Ready
cannon.
to receive orders.
For another run.
Mega Maser's prime.
Getting a lock.
Firing sequence
Intercepted.
engaged.
I got one. I'm on them.
Ascendancy at the ready.
On.
Yes, Commander.
Range.
Target acquired. What do you need,
orders.
sir?
Target locked.
Heavy cruiser.
Stay in formation.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Orders.
Well, the shields are going down anyways, so
All out.
Star Destroyer comms open. Ready to go, sir.
I'm going faster than I thought.
Awaiting your orders. Proceeding there now.
Ready for command, sir.
I do wish we had the Warlords, or the Rokias.
Ascendancy at the
Heavy
ready.
I keep doing that.
Get behind them.
Destroy their main batteries.
Cannons are inoperable.
Thrawn would approve.
Our turbo laser batteries have been
Sending
disabled.
Star Destroyer here.
Our engines are
Awaiting
going
your
down.
orders.
Holding fire
Moving
for
to attack.
maximum effect.
Ascendancy at the ready. Firing sequence
Yes,
engaged.
Commander. Firing on my weapon system.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Starting our attack run. Standing by. All fire on those torpedo
Heavy cruiser on standby.
Ready to receive orders.
What do you need, sir? All batteries fire on the target. Firing on the target.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Star cruiser here.
Star Destroyer comms open. Ready to receive orders.
Heavy cruiser.
We'll probably retreat after taking out the Golden 3.
Firing.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Sending Star Destroyer here.
Star cruiser standing by.
Star Destroyer comms open. Thrawn.
Well, maybe the Golden 2 as well.
Awaiting your orders. Opening fire.
Ready to receive orders.
Heavy cruiser on
Retreating does mean the
standby.
garrison comes
Ascendancy
back.
at the ready.
Yes, Commander. Target acquired.
Ready to go, sir.
Roger that. Open fire on those
Star
laser
Destroyer
cannons.
comms open. Mega Mazers primed. On standby.
Form up.
You can turn and shoot at the Golden 2.
What do you need, sir? Sending Star Destroyer
Star
here.
Destroyer comms open.
I'm on.
Yes, Commander. All batteries fire on the target. Heavy cruiser. Focus fire on the heavy guns. Destroy their
Ready to
main
receive orders.
batteries. And your sons.
Ascendancy at the ready. Star
James?
Destroyer comms open. Ready to go, sir.
What do you need, sir? Destroy their turbo lasers. Awaiting your orders. Firing on the target.
Ready to
Heavy
receive
cruiser
orders.
on standby.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Squadron standing by. Getting a
Star
lock.
Destroyer comms open. Firing sequence engaged.
Sending Star Destroyer here. Target acquired.
Get over there.
Ready to receive orders.
Yes, Commander. Heavy cruiser.
All of you guys,
Awaiting your orders.
get over to the
Stay
Golden
in
2.
formation.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Target locked.
On standby.
Excellent shot.
Awaiting orders. Moving
Hey,
out.
Kumar, how's it going?
Star Destroyer comms open.
Heavy cruiser on standby.
Them
Ready
now.
to receive orders. Ascendancy at the ready.
Locking on.
Heavy cruiser.
Targeting at maximum firepower.
Focus fire on the heavy guns. What do you need, sir? Awaiting your orders.
Enemies in range. Changing course.
Sending Star Destroyer here.
Alright, let's see if we can move you back. You don't have any engines anyways. You're gone when the retreat happens.
Ascendancy at the ready. Mega Mazers primed.
Ready for battle. More enemy craft.
Copy. Heading out.
Kind of doing commentary over on X2. So yeah, I'll be on X2
Heavy cruiser on
for
standby.
for at least part of it. We've got a mod team meeting in the afternoon, so I might be there a little bit before that. Though I am also making lunch at that point. Gotta make a pizza. But yeah, I'll be there
Your orders. What do you need?
sporadically throughout the day on Saturday, and then for a bit on Sunday as well.
Fire on those laser cannons.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Like I won't be there the whole time, but I should be there for a good chunk of it.
Sending Star
Heck, and
Destroyer
Charlie
here.
and whoever else shows up on the
Firing
stream. I think Wasted said he's gonna try to pop in.
Destroy those lasers.
Have any funny stories that came from working on the mod?
Open fire.
Yeah.
Ascendancy
Over
at the ready. Thrawn would approve.
15 years, a few funny things have happened. That's
Heavy cruiser.
super jumping the mind right now. But
Star Destroyer comms open.
Awaiting your orders.
Ready to receive orders. Mega Mazers primed.
Yes, Commander.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Heavy cruiser on standby. Moving to attack. Heavy cruiser. Cruiser
Star
firing.
Destroyer comms
Engines
open.
disabled. We're
Ready
at
to receive
drift, sir.
orders. Firing sequence engaged. Ascendancy at the ready.
Awaiting your orders. Destroy their main batteries.
Right now, I'm more sad about all my stuff dying.
Heavy cruiser on standby.
Like nothing beats the shotgun peltist. I cheated a little. Everyone complains about auto-resolve until you know how to abuse it. There's Jackbox stream, team game, where Mr. Puerto Rican became, he got a new nickname from it. Scythe does have a phalanx. That wasn't Scythe. We just used the same icon for the generic commander. The victory point animation you were talking about, if that were to be done, would it be TR first or Fall of the Republic first? That's really cool. That'd probably be something that gets done on like a faction by faction basis. So it'd probably end up in Fall of the Republic first because there's just the two factions, and it's a bit easier to handle that. Try to do it in chunks. Fall of the Republic usually ends up being a good test bed for stuff because it is a bit more focused. You don't have to worry about doing 30 things at once to get one thing done. There's not. Yeah, that's gonna be a easy enough take. Did I just save? I talking over my memory is just gone. Okay. Gotta be sure.
Invasion commencing.
Showed y'all how auto-resolve, did that help you learn how to abuse it? No, that didn't really impact it as much. It's just kind of knowing the general value of everything and understanding that if stuff is alive, it's still going to count for its full amount, even though that one Syndic only had like the one Mega Mazer. You kind of get a feel for it over time.
Fallout troops. Let's move out.
Almost there. We'll be there in a few seconds.
You don't have any Gilzians, so that's difficult.
Copy. Copy. Keep going. We secured a pad. Reporting.
Good shot. Not too bad. You are as well.
Awaiting orders. Copy. Weapons ready.
Check out Bad Batch yet? So when the first episode came out, me and Ek actually did a watch-along live reaction thing, which you can throw on at the same time you're watching if you want. But we had fun with that, and then I put out a review of episode 2 this morning over on my lore channel, Corey's Datapad, for all that. That's youtube.com/Corey's Datapad. Which actually, the overlap in subscribers and everything for both channels is relatively low. Which is nice in some ways, because it means that I'm not just Empire at War. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I didn't think I'd like it that much. It wasn't the show that I was most interested in with the announcements, but fuck, these are the long-range ones.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So far, it's been good.
Open fire. That target. Ready for duty. Weapons activated. Ready. Let's go.
I want some repairs, please. Like, I think I still like Rebels more, as far as my Star Wars cartoon preferences. And I don't think that Bad Batch is very likely to replace that. But I think between Echo and Hunter and all that, I think that some of my concerns with characters are going to be less of a concern. Even one of the other. I'm not going to go too far into spoilers, so yeah. I posted my thoughts. I don't want to spoil for anyone who hasn't watched it yet. Let's get repairs with this. Yeah, like I don't see a world where like Wrecker and Tech end up being better than some of the Rebels characters. I think maybe Hunter has enough room to grow for that. And Omega. Oh yeah, I don't know. There's another build pad right here. The Bad Batch was first proposed by Disney considering the success of Clone Wars Season 7, or did it come purely from Filoni? My guess would be Filoni. Like, the way Disney usually works with these properties is generally letting them do, like, still work how they would have wanted internally. So, like, it's hard to really say what comes from where or where you make that line. Because I don't doubt that there was a push for, like, oh, we're making Disney Plus, we want these shows, and then have Marvel and Lucasfilm kind of propose a bunch of stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was that situation. Then you had Filoni kind of run maybe a few options past people, and that's how it came about, maybe. Yeah, please don't spoil anything.
Almost there. Give me over there.
Yeah, Rebels is probably the thing where I've heard the most people who maybe didn't like it as much at first, or in the first go-round. Like, I know a lot of people that have rewatched it recently, including like some of the other mod devs. I think Bob did a rewatch pretty recently. Ek did a rewatch pretty recently. Some real-life friends of mine did a rewatch of it, and
Ready to receive orders. Roger.
Like, it's pretty universally been people saying, hey, this is actually pretty good, even if they didn't like it the first time. So I think it's something that's really aged well, at the very least.
I copy. Reporting. Moving to coordinates. Roger that.
Bombers at the ready.
Right away. Firing. We're going in. Ground target locked.
Like, no matter how big of a fan the person was of Star Wars before, it's generally been something I've heard positive stuff about.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Getting out. Ready for attack. Ball out.
Yeah, that's probably it for
Yes, Commander.
shit.
Ready. Initiating sweep.
Destroyed.
Weapons online. Let's move out. I've
Unit
got a lock.
destroyed.
Let's go.
I copy. Moving out. Heading out, sir.
Reporting in. Attack. Fire. Keep going. Open fire.
Yeah, Rebels definitely starts a weaker.
This way.
Like, the Clone Wars has never grown on me as much as it seems to have grown on other people.
Location.
I did enjoy Season 7, but I also enjoyed parts of Season 7 that I think weren't as commonly liked either. So,
Moving to coordinates.
Ready to receive orders.
Roger that. Right away.
That's part of why I was more concerned about Bad, or not concerned about Bad Batch. I just didn't think it would be for me.
Ready to go. Heading out. Fire at will. Attacking.
Like, it's still, of all the shows we got announced, it's still, like, the thing that I'm probably among the least interested in.
We're going in.
Like, I'm really looking forward to some of the other stuff that got announced, like, the Acolyte show in particular. I'm really looking forward to, but...
Ready for attack. Let's move out. Fire. Open fire. Attack that target. Let's go. Keep going. This way. Over there.
Watching any new Marvel shows? I have watched WandaVision. I haven't watched Falcon and Winter Soldier yet. I do plan to. I just wasn't sure if Dana would want to watch it, so I didn't start without her. I don't think she does, so I'll probably end up watching it on my own. Probably once I'm done with Always Sunny.
Keep going. This way. Over there. Reporting. T4P ready. Give me the target.
With Disney Star Wars canon, they're only interested in teasing kids to bring in more toy money. I mean,
Order acknowledged.
yeah, I have some bad news about Star Wars for you if you're upset about making content that's marketed towards kids for toy sales. Look at any interview with George Lucas from the original trilogy, and he'll tell you where they're going to make their money is toy sales. Like, that's what the movies are for. And Star Wars has always been for kids.
Landing zone.
Advancing.
And I feel like that's a weird thing to bring up about, like, Clone Wars in a discussion that involves Clone Wars. Like, the tone of Rebels and Clone Wars, I wouldn't say that Rebels is, like, more kiddie than Clone Wars. When Clone Wars was made by George Lucas, long before Disney had anything to do with Star Wars.
Planetary control achieved.
We don't need to save yet.
Constructing.
Adding stupid furry stuff to films to sell. I mean, Ewoks. That's literally what the original trilogy had as well. Star Wars has always been for the toy sales. See, do I have that quote saved? I think I might. You're still here, Thorwin. Thank you for... Oh, there you are. Thank you for becoming a patron as well. I just saw that. I don't think I have the quote anymore, but yeah, like that's what Lucas was going for. Like, Star Wars always goes through a cycle where stuff that was usually there, generally stuff that was there before people became a fan, is what they think is the standard for what's good. But, like, whenever anything has been made for Star Wars, the initial reaction has always been, this is shit and it's ruined Star Wars. Like, or, like, this thing is no longer Star Wars. Because, like, when Episode 5 was made and Episode 6 was made, the director of Episode 6 said Episode 5 was not really George's vision for Star Wars and took the franchise too far away from what it was. Even though it wasn't a franchise, or took Star Wars too far away from what it was. And that was Richard Marquand talking about episode 5. And then you have the NJO coming out, and that ruined Star Wars.
Roger.
Marvel and Bantam people talking about the other being shit. And Dark Horse and Del Rey or Bantam authors not going along with each other because none of the arguments that get brought up or the examples that get brought up are actually that different from what had come before. And it's usually just, but this time it's different. Because reasons. Look at the prequels. You know when the X2 meme review will be completed? That we'll hopefully be able to get to that next week. I can't commit to anything for them. Like, Eck has been super busy with some of the tournament stuff and stuff surrounding that this week. Charlie got absolutely shit-faced on the fundraiser stream, so we weren't able to finish it there, fortunately. Okay, this is dangerous. Could have the units for it. Hold off on the invasion there.
Vehicle in production.
Get more Gilzians.
Unit in production. Vehicle
You
cancelled.
and one of you.
Beginning construction.
Beginning construction.
We might deal with the Habens at the end of the campaign, but it's not something I want to do now when we have such limited resources. It looked like Scythe was on that planet for a second. In the future, we won't have the option to ignore them, because they will end up attacking. I think the casting series will continue the darker, more serious stuff from Rogue One. I would assume that it would be more tonally similar to Rogue One. It'd seem weird to completely change that in particular, like, because it is going to be so tied in, because it's Cassian. So that would be my assumption, at least.
Tank reporting for duty.
What do we want? Where do we want to go? Like, I do want Hutt, but I think we'll
Unit in
one of
production.
those. And let's check the charts. New Republic, 7 planets, because they did take Bespin. Ariado is 12 planets with 23%. Empire, 12 planets with 23%. So they're exactly even right now. We're at 80 planets with 15%. Maybe it is best to take Bathui then, because we've cut off a significant portion of the Ariado military just by cutting off Alicia. So let's go through here and kind of do the same to the Empire.
Construction complete.
Tactical battle imminent.
They're over here!
Choose your reinforcements.
Orders confirmed. We'll get there.
It.
Location locked. Heading out.
This fleet is going to need some more building up. I don't think we want not the Pillar of Autumn being our tank for this fleet.
Heavy cruiser moving
I
out.
think we should be able to handle this.
Orders confirmed.
Destination confirmed.
Reinforcements
Ready to
cancelled.
receive orders. Mega Masers primed. Ascendancy at the ready. Firing sequence engaged. Thrawn would approve.
Moving into position.
Advancing to the
Thrawn open. Mega Masers primed. Firing sequence engaged.
Yeah, we could go through 2 eras with constraint here.
Stay vigilant. Moving to those coordinates, Commander. What do you need, sir?
Weapons online.
Acquiring target. Form up. Fall out.
Ascendancy at the ready. Thrawn would approve. Mega Masers primed.
Please don't do this. Come on.
Comms open.
Getting a lock.
Why are you doing this to me?
Firing sequence engaged.
Heavy cruiser. Opening fire.
Ready to receive orders.
Initiating attack.
Sending Starfire here. Awaiting your orders.
I'm on.
Focus fire on the heavy gun. Yes, Commander. Reporting in.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Yes, Commander.
Ready to receive orders.
Like, the story group is a resource. They don't tell people what to do.
Moving to
They are there to give the writers the tools to kind of generally know what's going on, and whatever they do, they do. Especially with the movies, that'll come down more to what the directors are doing and what the writers are doing than
destroy their main
forcing them to
battery.
change it.
Opening fire.
Ascendancy at the ready. Thrawn would approve.
On standby.
Sending stars. Awaiting your orders.
Targeting at maximum firepower.
Star Destroyer comms open.
But again, like, the farther we get from their release, the more that'll blend in with literally the exact same stuff being said about the prequels. Like, if you look at the state of the Clone Wars before and after the prequels, you get the same situation as what people said about, like, oh, how the Clone Wars ruined, or how the prequels ruined earlier Legend stuff, how the Clone Wars ruined Mandalorians, or whatever else came before. Like, none of those are even the biggest contradictions. Like, they're not bigger than anything that existed in Legends before. People get over it eventually. It's just fresher stuff is fresher stuff. And
Heavy cruiser moving out.
Ready to receive orders.
Heavy cruiser. Awaiting your orders.
Excellent shot. Nowhere to
I have a hard time believing that, again, literally the exact same complaints, phrased the exact same way, are going to be more of an issue this time than every other time they've come up.
Formation.
Star Destroyer comms open. Thrawn would approve.
Heavy cruiser.
Something new will come along for people to be upset about, and then
Awaiting orders. Focusing fire on the
sequels will end up with the same rehabilitation that the prequels have
destroy
had.
their main batteries.
I have them now. Copy. Go after the stragglers.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Heavy cruiser on standby. Cruiser firing.
All fighters engaged. Star Destroyer
Heavy
comms
cruiser.
open.
They're coming in quick. Craft. I'm on them.
Ready to receive orders.
Yes, Commander.
That doesn't mean that any individual person has to like it or will like it, just like the general tone around it is
Awaiting
not
your
really a
orders.
new thing.
Commander, they're hitting us. I copy. I'm losing.
Ascendancy at the
Foremost
ready.
class carrier here, Admiral.
Reporting.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Nowhere to run.
Mega Mazers prime.
Heavy cruiser on standby. Opening fire.
Draw their fire. They're protected.
Ready to receive orders.
Yes, Commander. Awaiting orders.
Ascendancy at the ready. Firing sequence engaged.
Target locked. Attack formation.
Yes, Commander. Reporting.
Okay, this actually went slightly better than I thought. Like, this whole situation isn't great. This is about to die.
Heavy cruiser. Advancing to that position.
Well, maybe not. I guess we killed off the bombers before they got any bombs off.
Eliminating target.
Ready to receive orders.
Awaiting your orders. Yes, Commander. Awaiting heavy cruiser on standby.
Would approve.
Vigilance standing by.
Intercepting.
They will perish.
Well, part of that is also just the age group people fall into. Like, again, what people get into with Star Wars, what's coming out when they're getting into it,
Heavy cruiser.
how they feel about the established universe, and things that may change the established universe.
Fighters. Attack.
Because, like, a lot of the people who are upset about
Moving to
prequels
attack.
would have been, or, like, originally,
Choose your
Stay in formation.
original trilogy fans, and then
Heavy cruiser on standby.
younger fans would have had none of the same hang-ups that, or a lot of younger fans would have had none of the same hang-ups that
Heavy cruiser.
that older fans would have had about it. So then, as
Yes,
like
Commander.
those fans get older, the next thing comes out, people's view of what Star Wars is or should be kind of gets more established.
Orders.
And like there are a lot of people who come in with the sequel trilogy who maybe haven't engaged with prior Legend stuff or prior movies as much, and for them, the sequel trilogy is what Star Wars is.
Ready for command.
And the longer time goes on, the more people are going to be kind of in that headspace where they're not comparing it as like, this is Star Wars and the sequel trilogy is this new thing, we have to see how that fits in. Instead, it's, this is Star Wars as this mass of things that includes the sequel trilogy already just by default, and it'd be kind of the next thing for them that
Mega Mazers prime.
that kind of shifts that. And it's not like a hard dividing line, it's usually a sliding scale. The longer you're in it, the more that gets solidified, or the more that you're adjusting for.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Reporting. Fire!
We await your orders.
Star Destroyer comms open. Firing sequence engaged.
Like, I personally don't love the sequels either, but like there are elements that I do like, and I do understand why people would like them. And like, I'm obviously coming as someone who does primarily engage with Star Wars as
Ready to receive orders.
a Legends
We'll get
fan,
there.
and like
Ascendancy
having
at the
come
ready.
into with
Thrawn would
the
approve.
Del Rey novels in particular.
Heavy cruiser.
Star Destroyer comms
Awaiting
open.
your orders.
I'm also aware of like
Carrier here, Admiral. Heavy cruiser
how
on
a lot of fans
standby.
felt about those when they first came in too, and
Yes,
how
Commander.
how
Awaiting
big of a
orders.
tonal
Ready to
shift
receive
that
orders.
the Del Rey books versus the Bantam books were, even,
Heavy cruiser.
and like the response the NJO had and the Dark Nest had.
Ascendancy at the ready.
I don't think that it'll be a dying
Star
breed. I
Destroyer
think like
comms open.
we've seen even some of the reprints that have happened, like the new audio books for Shatterpoint and all that. Like I think there are a lot of books that people will be able to come in from canon and get interested in the expanded universe as it exists now, and then probably go to new canon stuff, or go from new canon stuff to legend stuff as well. I think it'll go both ways. In the same way that, like, there are people who came in from when, like, the expanded universe as a thing was more established with the canon hierarchy after 2000, and even though the Marvel comics, for example, have been kind of relegated at that point to kind of second, like, lowest tier possible, basically, a lot of people who became Legends fans did go back and kind of read those, and that's something that I've done, where, like, I came in with the Del Rey books, but ended up going back and reading some of those Marvel comics and engaging with more of that stuff. So I don't think it has to be mutually exclusive. I don't think it will be mutually exclusive. Like, people will definitely have their preferences, and it will be more prominently new canon because that's just what's coming out. But at the same time, I don't think it'll entirely die off. And I do think there's some stuff that reading some of the Legends material, like outside the box, but I do think there is some stuff that, if you go back and read some of the Legends material, it doesn't hold up that well for various reasons, either because of how some of the subject matter gets handled, some of the stories that have never really been that popular.
Cruiser firing.
Ready to receive orders.
Yeah.
Thrawn would approve. Mega Mazers Prime.
Yes, Commander. Reporting in.
Yes, Commander.
What do you think of the X-Wing Legends books, Michael Stackpole and all this stuff? I really like them. I think, like, Thrawn Trilogy, X-Wing, they kind of established what the EU would have been going forward. Thrawn Trilogy primarily, and X-Wing kind of ran with that.
Star Destroyer comms open. Firing sequence engaged. Thrawn would approve. Ready to receive orders. Location locked. Heading out. Ascendancy at the ready.
Awaiting your orders.
The sequels were never gonna fit Legends, even when George was making them. Like,
Mega Mazers primed.
you have to, at that point, make a story that has to, like, fit in around the time of Dark Nest. Wasn't gonna happen.
Orders confirmed. We'll get there. Ascendancy at the
Heavy
ready.
cruiser. Focus fire on the heavy guns.
Comms open. Firing sequence engaged. Ready to receive
Vision
orders.
standing by. We have the enemy target, my lord.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Awaiting your orders. Heavy cruiser on
Star Destroyer
standby.
comms open.
You
Ready
get
to
in
receive
position, like, stay out of range,
Location locked.
shoot
Heading out.
that goal in. I'm gonna tell you to go straight towards it, and I'll tell you to stop. There you go.
Heavy cruiser. Opening fire. Awaiting your orders. Heavy cruiser moving out. Firing on their hangar. Heavy cruiser on standby. Destroy their launch bay. Heavy cruiser. Awaiting your orders. Heavy cruiser on standby. Heavy cruiser.
Ascendancy at the ready. We'll get there.
Get around there.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Awaiting your orders. Moving to attack. Advancing to that position. Heavy cruiser on standby. Proceeding there now.
Ready to receive orders. Thrawn would approve. Ascendancy at the ready. Mega Mazers primed.
Heavy cruiser. Cruiser firing. Opening fire. Awaiting your orders. Engines disabled. We're adrift, sir.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Heavy cruiser on standby. Moving to attack.
Ready to receive orders. Firing sequence engaged.
Heavy cruiser. Cruiser firing.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Awaiting your orders. Heavy cruiser
Star
moving
Destroyer
out.
comms open. Thrawn would approve.
Heavy cruiser on standby.
Alright.
Destroy their main batteries.
Let's move out.
I'm not sure how
Ascendancy at the ready.
the transition to Dallas is going to work. I'm not sure what the state of the air transitions and everything were when this
Firing sequence
version
engaged.
came about.
Heavy cruiser.
So I'm just, every time we go to an era transition, I'm just
Thrawn would
terrified.
approve. Mega Mazers primed. Ascendancy at the ready. Firing sequence engaged.
Awaiting your orders. Advancing to that position. Proceeding there now.
Star Destroyer comms open. Thrawn would approve.
That one.
Mega Mazers
Look for
primed.
that.
Ready to receive orders.
Heavy cruiser on standby.
Ascendancy at the ready.
We are victorious.
Rather than wait for more of it. It won't be as easy to do later.
Construction complete.
Underway. Assault tank reporting for duty.
Will the alternate era 2 with Trackless and Hissa work? It'll just be you'll choose which one you go to if you're doing the voluntary air progression. And there'd be different progression criteria. We haven't figured out the specifics of it. But they're unlikely to be the default progression.
Building started.
How many planets was it? It was 12 each. Yeah, 12 for the Empire. We should probably make these, if we can, get removed when they're all 0. We're lacking ground units right now. Actually, what's the New Republic situation? I didn't look at them there with the military strength. 9% military strength, 22%, 24 for Ariadu. We're at like 10? Nope, 15 still. Thought we would have gone down.
Reporting for duty.
Well, Nalhada we can actually turn into
Beginning construction.
some decent production as well. Working download for 1.3. Probably out there somewhere. I don't know where that somewhere would be,
Moving to
though.
coordinate.
Right away.
It would have been on file front. It would have been on... It's gotta be somewhere. Gotta be. Can't fully get rid of stuff on the internet. Why?
Construction.
Gotta be
Assault tank
somewhere.
reporting for duty.
Australia. I think we can do this.
Invasion commencing.
Well, we definitely can't do it.
Copy. Let's go.
Constructing.
Choose your reinforcements.
Moving out.
Adjusting navicomputer.
Heading out, sir.
Maximum unit
copy.
capacity.
going.
Production halted.
Reporting. Order acknowledged. Yes, Commander. Orders, sir.
Reporting.
We
Construction
secured a
complete.
build pad.
Reporting. This way. Over there.
Yeah, Jason's storyline is my favorite Legends storyline. Because he wasn't originally intended to become Darth Caedus. Like, that kind of came about on its own later, but I think it makes sense. Like, the way that transition was handled, I think, was really interesting. I don't think it was, like, necessary that it happened, but you can see kind of the development from him as, like, this super caring, wants to protect all life kid into, like, getting kind of pretentious with how he goes about things, thinking he knows better than everyone than in NJO, but still, like, is trying to do the right thing, to think, like, oh, it's up to me to stop all these bad things happening, to kind of getting misled on, like, kind of just discovering all these different views of the Force in NJO and then in Darknet, and then kind of being corrupted by that and being manipulated through that. And, like, Traitor is a really good book. I basically just read it, and I kind of want to go back and reread it again because of all the stuff with Jason and Vergir there. I don't love the retcon of Vergir as having been a Sith at that point, but I do think the way it all kind of shakes out is really interesting.
We're going in. Ground target. Roger that. Ready for attack.
Come from the front.
Right away. Bring out. Initiating sweep. Doors lock up.
I copy.
Waiting orders. Weapons online. I've got a lock. Attack. Getting out.
Like, the fact that it wasn't originally planned that way is part of why I like it so much. Because instead you have to find how that could happen to someone. Like, if he's initially planned to go that direction, it probably ends up not resonating the same way, or not feel like not making as much sense. Because especially with what happens in Traitor, I think that kind of gets recontextualized in and works out just so much better in retrospect. Which is probably part of why he was chosen for it, but the fact that it wasn't written with that intention originally,
Order acknowledged.
I think works really well.
We secured a bill of pad.
Is the TTG stream at Sunday a new campaign or finishing touch of the last one? So it is a new campaign, but the one with Shaq and Wasted and Eck and Charlie, we will be doing the finale of that at some point once Shaq has all the assets sorted and everything, because there was a whole thing with Tabletop Sim Star Wars assets recently, so he just had to go, like, sort through all of his tables to make sure that everything's clear. Crap. But yeah, so the stuff that's happening on Sunday is part of a, like, it's a different series that I do with some of the primarily mod devs, where it's Kalo, Slevert, Inertial, Scarecrow, Adia. So it's not that same player pool, but we've got 2 full campaigns if people want to check that out. You want to watch the whole thing before Sunday? You don't need to have seen the prior campaigns to understand what's going to be going on in this one, because it's set in the. So for campaign 3, we're doing KOTOR period. There's going to be a connection to the last campaign, but people who haven't seen it are going to be more than fine jumping in.
Yes, Commander. Moving out.
We'll back you up.
Ready. Heading out. To those coordinates now.
Adjusting navigator.
There. Ooh. Could have killed that AT-AT factory. But we can actually get up to it.
Ready. Reporting in. This way.
You can kill that one.
Scouting location. Attacking target. Fire and wind. Attacking. Ready to go. Executing flight. Copy.
Right, get out of there. More tanks in here. And destroy the structures. That is not destroying the structures.
Ready for attack. Ready. T4P mobile. Moving into position. All weapons loaded.
Commander, en route. Moving to coordinates.
Ready. Moving to position.
Okay, shoot that. Go back to shooting this.
Tank brigade. Fire and wind. Attacking.
Ready, sir. Roger that. Targeting. Firing. We're going in. Ground target locked. Ready for attack.
Target. Run.
Alright.
Form up. Fire.
No! No!
Moving out. I copy.
Okay, well, whatever. I don't care. I don't really care. I actually do really care. When I'm playing this build, I do really miss the AI changes that came later on. They were in the Fall of the Republic release, where the AI is a lot more willing to retreat on ground when they just have, like, kind of stragglers or nearly empty structures.
Planetary control achieved.
Building started.
T2B over.
Alright, what do we got on Corellia?
Building started.
Got more full stations.
Construction complete.
Gonna be a bit difficult on ground. We're only 1 or 2 jumps away from our other planets here.
Tactical battle imminent.
Oh, hi. Oh, fuck. That is a sovereign. I don't want to fight that. Please. Thank you. I don't know if they're actually going to use it to interdict. I assume they will. Don't like that.
Star Destroyer comms open.
Calculating jump to light speed.
Please? Okay, thank you. Thank you, AI issues. Which I believe have been fixed. I don't feel bad about doing that. Alright. I think we will leave it there for now. So we'll be doing 1, maybe even 2 streams next week, and probably work towards the conclusion of the playthrough. Next stream, we'll figure out what our victory condition is going to be. I don't think we're going to take every planet for this one, because we will have been past the release of point 2. But hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. Thanks for coming. Some fun chats today. And hope to see you next time. Remember, tomorrow will be the start of the tournament over on Eckhart's Ladder. Star Wars Squadrons, $20,000 prize pool. It'll be a lot of fun to watch. A lot of work's going into that. And so that's going to be happening both tomorrow and Sunday. Then later on Sunday night, there will be the first episode of Edge of Despair Campaign 3. And I will probably have that scheduled by tonight. So you get to see all the character art. But thanks again for watching, everyone. Hope to see you next time. Have a good one.